Yo, what up? Here talking about the various stages of nutritional disillusionment. So, first stage, you've heard all the hype about fruits and vegetables. You've heard that red meat is bad, processed meat even worse. And so you try vegetarianism. That's stage one. When that doesn't work, and you get kind of flabby and kind of soft looking and feeling, maybe your skin health goes to shit, then you decide you didn't vegetarian hard enough and you move to stage two. Stage two, veganism. You go even harder and you try that for a while. Now, if you're an extremist, once you've been doing vegan for a while and that doesn't work, hopefully you bypass stage three, which is cleanses and fasts and things of that nature. That's a rough path to go down, but some people need to go through that that stage before they can continue to move on the path to complete and total nutritional disillusionment. So, once you've done that, you're kind of starving and you have really strong cravings for a lot of the foods that you've deleted for what may have been years at this point. And so you decide, meat is bad, red meat is bad, dairy's bad, butter fat is bad, saturated fat, it's bad unless it comes from the perfect source. So beef is now back on the menu, but it's got to be grass-fed. Milk back on the menu, but it's got to be raw. Butter back on the menu, but it's got to be pastured butter. And so on and so forth. And meat's back on the menu. And maybe you're following the traditional pathways. You're following the traditional diet of some kind of mythological traditional diet. And enjoying all those foods. Of course, you don't feel too well eating all that stuff. Bunch of full-fat dairy and pork products and eggs and all that stuff. And eventually you get to a point where you realize that's not really it either, but I'm still liking this. I'm liking this, this whole ethos of doing it the traditional way, but let's screw the last 10,000 years. Let's go way back, baby. Let's go paleo. And you move to step 5, which is to double down on the kind of traditional style diet and shoot for a paleo diet where you're eating only stuff that was available to our ancestors before the dawn of agriculture. So there you go. Now again, if you're an extremist, hopefully you're not, because if you are, when the paleo thing stops working out, there is a step 6, which moves into eating a lot of this stuff raw. So raw eggs, raw meat, a lot more liver, stuff like that. I saw Casey Means, who was appointed to some position by RFK Jr., having a little liver smoothie, a little liver in her smoothie the other day. Yeah, guys, this is a rough patch to go through. Step 6, hopefully you bypassed it, but it's definitely a major step on the path to complete and total nutritional disillusionment. So, hopefully you made it through that step. But then comes some pretty hardcore macro wars. Now, the macro wars could come at any stage. But for our purposes here, we'll say step 7 is to move into the macro wars, where you either are doing keto. Most people start doing keto. They do keto for a while and feel good at first, and then they start feeling like shit, of course, because carbs are kind of a big deal. And yeah, especially if you're an active, vibrant person. So you do keto for a while, doesn't deliver, and maybe you go even more hardcore. Again, the extremist will then go into carnivore, 100%. No plants whatsoever. Just straight up carnivore, just eating meat. And eating meat, maybe just like whittling it down to nothing but beef. Just steak and ground beef, which is really common once you've gone deep into the steps here. But when that doesn't work, well, what next? Well, unfortunately, you can sometimes take a step all the way back to step 2, right? And you repeat that, but this time, low-fat vegan. Super low-fat vegan. There you go. Maybe when you were a vegan, you just didn't try it low-fat enough for it to work. And carnivore certainly sucks. So you try the low-fat vegan option. It doesn't take long before you realize that you feel terrible doing that. And what are you left with? Maybe you're bouncing back and forth. Carnivore, low-fat vegan, carnivore, low-fat vegan. I don't know. But at some point, you're probably going to then start to find in stage 9 some of the more like eclectic health fads going on out on the internet. Maybe Ray Pete, or maybe my old work, and you're like, dude, it's my metabolism. It's been my metabolism the whole time. And you try to eat the perfect metabolically stimulating diet, which feels great at first, but you're probably going to gain weight. And, eating all those delicious foods. And then what? You get pretty close to total nutritional disillusionment at that point. But at least you're feeling better because you're not cutting out major food groups and getting all your macronutrients in. It's a plus. But maybe you're just tired of all this stuff. And you move into stage 10, which is intuitive eating. Intuitive eating, guys. Stage 10, nutritional disillusionment. You just eat whatever you want. Now, if you're a more extremist, or maybe you went into this whole nutritional thing with just tons of hope that it was going to deliver something magical, maybe you go beyond intuitive eating and you just go full fuck it mode, right? Full fucking mode, you eat whatever you want. And that, because that doesn't go well, you're reminded, oh shit, the reason I started eating a weird diet in the first place is because eating normal made me feel terrible. Gave me all these health problems. Oh, we're in the middle of a massive worldwide health crisis, the epicenter of which is right here in the United States. And you can't just eat a normal diet. So what do you do now? So you're at stage 11 here. You're beyond, intuitive eating into fuck it mode, let's say. And then stage 12 is getting into the final stages. And stage 12 is when you realize that all this time you spent focusing on nutrition was a huge waste. And you should have been focused on exercise. That exercise actually is a better remedy for many of the modern health problems, and your problems in particular. And if you'd have just put all this time and effort and energy that you put into your nutrition, into your diet, or into your exercise, you'd have world-class fitness right now. You'd feel great, you'd look great, and things would be going a lot better for you than if you'd just never wandered into the nutritional wilderness in the first place. And then I'd say stage 13. This is the last stage I know of. There may be stages beyond this, but I've been in stage 13 for quite some time. And that's the stage where not only do you realize that nutrition and all the stuff you've heard about nutrition not only is eating the perfect diet impossible, and not only are these like healthy foods that you try to consume so much of to be more healthy, not only are they not making you healthier, you come to believe they're actually the unhealthy foods. And you start eating exclusively the non-healthy foods, right? Mostly white starches, red meat, plenty of like sugar, right? And then hopefully that helps you feel a lot better. Lose weight, resolve a lot of your health problems. I've been doing it for 7 years, so that works for me quite well. But yeah, it's interesting to see where everybody is on this spectrum. Looks like our government officials who've been waxing poetic about how we need to prioritize our health are somewhere in that kind of stage 3, 4 area. You know, I think the government officials are mostly step 1 and 2. Now they moved to step 3 or 4, and we still got a long way to go, man. I mean, they're fucking drinking liver smoothies and shit right now. We're many, many stages away from where we need to be, which is hyper-focused on exercise and realizing that all this health food actually isn't healthy. We'll see how it all pans out. We'll see if there's a stage 14, 15, 16. I'll let you know, but that's my best assessment of the 13 stages of nutritional disillusionment.